Hey everybody, Keisha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the CARES Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city house or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the CARES Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the CARES Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate, and we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations, and thank you for all the support, and we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CARES Project podcast. Today, we are here with me and Sherry again to talk about some interesting conversations about what, pretense and all this nonsense going on that we're seeing, the difference between pretending to be good and actually doing what's right, which is what we're seeing a lot of. And, I'll just kind of open it and lead in and say things that Um, you know, when I look at somebody that's doing something, I don't have to agree with everything that somebody says. I have to look at, are they trying to do what's right? That's what I gauge things on, because I don't have to like what somebody's doing. I don't. But are they trying to do what's right? And I don't have to agree with everything. But not everything, no one person does everything, right? You're going to need a bunch of different approaches, and you're going to need a bunch of different people, because certain people can reach to other people that I can never reach. So, who am I to sit down and say, you're not committing crimes? I don't really care, right? Like, that's really what it boils down to. Do what you need to do, help people, and stop this, like, slavery, this insanity. That's not that hard, right?
No,
So,
it's actually it's easy. Just be a good person. Choose to be a good person. That's really what it boils down to.
well, yeah, we don't even, like, some people are worried about, oh, I got to be good all the time. No, we all make mistakes. We all do stupid things, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, just, like, fix your mistakes, because none of us are perfect. We do good things and we screw up sometimes, right? And so just because you're a screw up doesn't mean you're a write off, because as long as you're learning from your mistakes and trying to improve on them, this is really what's important, because I'm definitely not perfect. My I've never met a person like in my life face to face. So I mean, the only perfect person I see is God. So I mean, well, we're not God. So we'll deal with. I can deal with that. But
Yeah, exactly.
we're seeing a lot of people creating a false persona. Um,
It's called imposter syndrome.
yes,
They live in a world of being putting themselves out there as this person who is so much more than what they are behind the scenes. And I mean, I granted they're trying to be more than what they are behind the scenes, but imposter syndrome is it also is like you believe that we're actually scared to do anything above of who you are as a total person. So then when you try to be this person that is helping and is being and is doing, the syndrome kicks in and it brings you right back to your scared self. And so people just need to start authentically being themselves and start looking at, if you're going to be out there being a good person, then go be a good person. Don't just be a good person because you're in the public eye. Be a good person because that's the right thing to do.
that's exactly it. What you mentioned there, that's called integrity. It's like
Yeah,
doing what's right, even when nobody is looking, or no one
absolutely.
will ever find out.
Yeah,
And that's important, because when, well, I look at this, no matter how smart I am, no matter how good I'm doing at something, I can't know everything. I can't do everything. It is impossible. I need help. Like, when people come in and say, "Oh, well, you're trying to do this and say this is the only thing," I said, "No, I've never said that. I said we need to do this, and that, and that, and that, and that. The only thing we got to do is we got to kind of work together, right? So that we coordinate our efforts, because we were getting picked off one by one. Like, I was talking to somebody and saying, think of it, we're trying to go through a forest, but there's one path that they've laid ambushes, and they've got people there, and we're all trying to one by one going through that path, when there's 1,000 different paths that we can all go through and avoid the ambush and get to the other side so we can get to the goal. But we're all trying to go through that one path. It's not going to work, right?
no. And I
Right?
guess that's a huge thing too, because right, there's so many of us out there that we don't just follow the lead. Like I mean, I've been trained since a very young age that I don't follow the lead. I take the lead more than I follow the lead because I question things all the time. Just because someone says something or does something, or they hold some sort of authority, we're programmed to believe that if they hold authority, or they're an adult or elder or something like that, that we have to respect our elders. We have to respect authority. We have to. And you can't. You have to question it. I mean, I'm not saying don't disrespect by all means. I'm saying that question it, and if it's the right thing, then yeah, like we're all taught right from wrong at before 5 years old.
Well,
So why are people pretending that they don't know what's right and wrong?
well, this is what you said. Respecting your elders is fine. People are just abusing what it means,
That's
because
right.
if they're
That's right.
it's saying that if you disagree with them, you still be respectful
That's right.
when you're telling them, I'm not taking this from you. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you just savagely beat them just because you don't like the shirt they put on you or whatever the case. That's overboard. But you be respectful, say, listen, I'm not taking this because what you're telling me to do is wrong. I don't care if you're my mother or father. I'm not going to go and kill my neighbor. Sorry. Too bad. Right?
Exactly. And it goes right down to like the abuse in the world. The majority of the people in the world have endured some sort of abuse, whether it's sexual, whether it's physical, psychological, emotional, whatever. Every person in the world has had some sort of abuse. The thing is, again, the programming tells you have to stay stuck in your abuse. You have to stay stuck in your head, and you can't get better. And you're always going to be a low life, and you're always going to be a loser, and you're always going to be this horrible person. They don't tell you that, you know what? Yeah, there are steps, really simple steps to get you out of the trauma, out of the abuse, and away from it so that you can live the life that you're meant to live. You don't have to stay stuck there. But they make sure that anybody who's gone through any type of abuse, they hold you there. They hold you there in your mind. And then, next thing all these people are thinking you're losers and you're idiots and you're a low life and you'll never amount to anything. And now we have all these people on the streets, and all these people on drugs, and all these people who like have minimal confidence in life or any ambition for life whatsoever. And then, people like myself or yourself or whatever, I'm trying to help show these people that it takes one step in the right direction to change your whole entire life. And if people would just start seeing that and knowing that and just trusting one person just once to show them that it is that easy to change it, it's simple to walk out of it. It's simple to have the life, and it's simple to take the power away from all these horrible people that are trying to convince you and hold you back from being who you're meant to be.
Well, and this is what you talk about trust. This is where people fall off the rails. They trust people. Like I tell people, I don't trust people. I trust actions, because your actions will demonstrate who you are. Because people can say anything and we lie. Like human beings, sometimes we make mistakes. We don't even intend to say it, but we're not perfect. So sometimes when we'll say something, it's actually not right. And we've all this made it took a test, and we thought we put down the right answer, but our mind was somewhere else, and we put down the wrong answer. We're like, well, I knew it was right. Well, we make mistakes. We're human beings. But people have to trust the pattern of behavior, because yes, everybody makes mistakes. But if somebody's consistently, more often than not, following this type of thing, then you're like, okay, then I can see that this is a person that I can sit down and listen to what they say, because they're matching those things. People just, a lot of the times, because they're told to trust X, Y, and Z, without question, they go up to that person, they say something, they just automatically drink it in like it's the gospel truth, and then they get bent over and they get bent over, and they're not taught how to distinguish a person that you should pay attention to, rather than somebody who talks to the side of their mouth. And you look at politics, and
Right.
this is evident right
Right.
there.
Yeah, and that goes right back to the programming, right? All the program that they have, and going back to trust people. It's not even that people don't trust people. It's not even that. It's the fact that if you're different than their comfort zone or the situations that they grown up, like they're people are mostly trust like their surroundings and their group of people and their like say you hang out with a bunch of people and they do drugs and they party and they do all these things, so then you come out of there and now you have to go to a corporate meeting and you have to be in this meeting with all these high class people. I mean, yeah, you're still that corporate person maybe, but the thing is, you're not going to trust those people in that corporate meeting as much as you're going to trust those people in your backyard that are partying and having fun with, which is unfortunate because a lot of the times the people that you meet in these other places are probably like some one person will probably be that person that takes you to your next step, next level in life.
It's
Right.
like the kind of what they talk about in psychology is schemas, the way that you frame the world and think that it is, and it becomes very rigid in your mind. And a lot of people don't necessarily want to take the information in front of them and then say, wait a second, I need to evaluate this because I'm used to this, I'm comfortable with this, this is the way this construct in my mind should be, and I
Yeah.
don't want to deviate from it. But
Yeah.
there's like my grandmother used to tell me there was two things in life that are three things that were life, and I heard it other places: death, taxes, and change. These are things are constant. Change is always something that's there. We have to get used to it because
Yeah.
you grow up, you change. It's just a
There's
fact of
only
life.
and that's like there's only one thing that you have to do in life. There's only one thing that you have to do. No matter you can't stop it, no matter what you try, how much you try, and that's die. That's the only thing that you have to do in life. So your whole entire life, you spend doing all these things, like whether you grow up as a child and some get to play, some get abused, some, you know what I mean, and then you become an adult, and then it's into the world of slavery. Work, 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 do, 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 pay the bills, pay the bills, pay the bills. And then you get to a point in your life where people are starting to, or not starting to, they just get to a point of their life where they're just completely done with this slavery world. They're exhausted, their trips, they're broke, they don't have the money. And then they turn around, and when they get into their late 40s, early 50s, they're going, okay, this is obviously not what life is meant to be. Like, why did I do all these things in life when I could have been, you know, being a better person here, doing better things here, living my life better here. But that's the thing. People go into the world of slavery, and it's right from a very young age because we teach our children. It's not, I mean, I don't believe it's teaching your children slavery when we start teaching them chores and stuff, because realistically we're just getting them ready for the world. But in the same sense, when these people today, it's like shifted, because the people today aren't even doing the things that they're supposed to be doing as an adult. And this is where we talked about before that, like, if there's a situation, if you were to walk up to somebody and you were say, hey, don't do that, that's you're not allowed to do that, what do you think your response would be if you didn't know that person?
Be like, what are you talking about? Why?
Or you'll get either that, or you'll get, don't tell me what they have to do, right?
Yeah, yes.
That's the world today. Like, the people of the older generations will go like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything wrong. And then the people today were like, who are you to tell me what to do and how to do it, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Because you just hurt their feelings because you just said something they didn't like, and they're the ones who control things.
Yes. Like when somebody comes up to me and tells me something, the thought that comes through my head is, why are they telling me this? What's their motive for telling me this? What is the purpose of this? How is it going to be beneficial to me? Because you got to look at all these things, because sometimes people will come and tell you something that's true just to hurt you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you have to consider all of these things as to why before you just accept this information. But a lot of people don't critically think. And this is why it's important for parents to take control of their children's life, because the school does not teach you how to think. They teach you how to do things in a manner where, as I like to say, I'd rather pull my eyeballs out with a rusty screwdriver, because you're beating your brain into submission, is
You
what
are.
they teach you in school. And that's not what it should be like. It really
No,
isn't.
no. When I was in Dallas a few months back, I met a gentleman, and his whole um, his whole dedication is to the people. He built things for homeschooled people. He built gymnasiums for, like, they did homeschooling, so the gymnasiums were for the homeschool, and the for the disabled children, and it was no cost to the people whatsoever, zero cost. And he and I had a conversation, and he just said, he's like, if people just started to understand that all these years of schooling is actually killing their children rather than helping their children, they would understand. Yes, people need, um, the kids need social communication, but do they need that type of social communication? Do they
No,
need to, they need sports, they need the interaction with kids because they do need to be able to deal. They need bullying because they need to be able to understand the difference between bullying and actually getting to a point of, you know, if they okay,
they need to
if you
learn. They need to learn the consequences for your actions and distinguishing between right and wrong through all of these things. Because sometimes, if you harm a kid and get beat up, you deserved it. But if you
yeah,
were just existing and somebody picked on you for no reason, that's wrong, right?
see, yeah, and the thing is like, so if a child is getting bullied at school, okay, versus a child that has never got bullied, and I see this firsthand. So a child that gets bullied, if something happens to him later in life, he's able to actually react differently and more positively to the situation when he's dealt with a hard situation when he's older, as a teenager, adult, whatever. But when a child is coddled, and not saying that it's just a bullying, but when a child is coddled and they have no, like it's just a big cushion around them, and the parents like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And then when they get older, and say they get into they get bullied finally in high school, or they get into the real world, and life isn't as easy as that big cushion that they had around them the whole time. Then they literally have the hardest time fighting a mental breakdown because they really don't know how to deal with that situation. They don't know
Yeah,
how to deal with
yes.
anything hard.
I like I told. So I was talking to somebody about this. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, people when I was a kid spit through my window said N bombs go back to Africa. When I was a little kid, even before I went to school, and I had that kind of stuff. I used to ask myself, why would they say that? And I had a lot of people that word did a lot of wrong things. But what happened? I had to fight through it, and I had to get over it. Right? Like I said, when I was growing up, there was no affirmative action. There was none of that. So what was the solution? Work harder, right? So then when it comes down to this point, all of those challenges that I had to go through, and well, not some of them were not very pleasant, but at the end of the day, when it came down to this, I was just like, there's no way I'm going to stop. And I prepared me to deal with this. And I'm not sitting down and saying, go and do something wrong to someone. But there's always going to be somebody who's going to do something stupid. But if you fight through those adversities and challenges, it prepares you to deal with life because life is not fair, right?
No, life is definitely not fair. And all these people out there trying to convince their children that life is fair, and oh, life is good, and here's that cushion again, and we're gonna pad those emotions and pad this and pad that. It's just they're completely setting their child up for failure,
Well, well, yes, and there's people have
or
to
even
dis-
suicide.
yes, and people have to distinguish. Like they have this mindset that, well, I should be able to do this and nothing should happen, and it's always the other person's fault. I'm like, okay, if I go into the bloods section of a city and I come in and I'm wearing a blue do rag and all blue and I get shot up, well, should they have shot me? No. But why would I do something to make them think that I was like an enemy to get myself killed? Right. And this is where, yes, you should be able to do what you want, but you know that there's always going to be wrong people. Don't put yourself in a bad situation around criminals. Like I shouldn't walk out with money hanging out of my pockets going through the hood. That is asking for problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we'll go back to like how people out there are portraying to be something that they're not. In our movement alone, and I'll bring it up for sure because I see. I mean, I'm trained to read people. I've been reading people for 35 years, right?
Yes.
So I see right through the majority of the people that are out there. And like I said already, there's people out there that, they're taking money. And I'm not saying all of them, there's some good ones out there that, that need the donations and need some help. And they got court cases or whatever. I understand that. But there is people out there that are going on, stringing people along on these wild, crazy roads, and oh, we're going to save the world if we go over here, we're going to save the world if we go over here, let's try this, let's try that. And they have people bouncing their heads off walls, or they're going in so many different directions. But yet, what in 5 years, okay, in 5 years, what has changed? What has any of these people done to make a change or a difference, other than going online and keeping people informed of what's going on? What have they done?
I
I'm sorry, like,
know. I,
I will say it because to me, there's a lot that we could do, but obviously you know as well as I know, and a lot of people know that it can't be done with one person.
no.
Can't do it. You have to unite. And I'm not going to sit online and say, oh, we have to unite, we have to unite, we have to unite. No, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to go do the work, and I'm going to keep doing what I do, because I'm actually saving people out here. I'm actually protecting people out here. I'm actually making change out here. And if people want to join me and come and help me do what I do, the nasty stuff that I'm doing over here, perfect. But I'm not going to sit online and just keep telling everybody what they need to do and how they need to do it. And oh, you should prepare. And well, you know what? Yeah, I'm out here helping people prepare. Right? I'm helping people. I'm teaching people survival skills. I'm teaching people mental toughness that they're going to need, because I'm going to tell you all these meditations and breathing exercises that they're pushing on people, they ain't going to help you when somebody busts in your door. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But it's true though. I mean, that's why I'm laughing, because people are doing nonsense. Let's just take a short commercial break and hear from the Pillow Man. We'll be right back.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products: mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Yeah, so if you need any of the MyPillow products, you go to mypillow.com/Karis or 800-845-2942. Use promo code Karis. And there's also a promotion on the website. If you go there, you'll see it. This is just for people who are watching through the show. So go ahead and check it out. Go to mypillow.com/Karis. So kind of back to what you were saying here, where people are going ahead and they're taking money from people and saying, oh, I've got this and I've got that, and that my one thing is going to be the magic trick that undoes all of this stuff. I'm like, this is next level delusion, because Rome was not built in a day, and you're not going to tear down Rome in one day, right? Like, as that saying goes. So you're going to have to deconstruct it, and it took a lot of people a long time to do this. So how are you going to reverse something like this? It's going to take work. This is like, we don't live in a land of fairy tales and pixie dust. We don't.
No.
This is the real world. We have to do work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like so many people have just, they go and they give their little spiel, and I see, and like I said, I do know that there are some people who absolutely need the money and are doing good work. I do know that. I see it.
Yes.
And the thing is like, yeah, like there's a lot of people out there that are taking a lot of money from the good people. And
Yes.
for what? For what? So you can, what? I'm not going to say nothing, but for what? you
But
know, like I know a lot of what's going on out there, but the thing is the work has to be done. People need to come together. You can sit there and like we can sit here and we can talk back and forth, and we talk quite often, but and I could talk to 50 other people on the phone, and you know what I mean. I can do that, but what we need is to bring people together, have the
yes.
hard have hard conversations,
Yes.
disagreements, and find a
Yes.
solution to fix what's going on, because I'm everybody out there right now thinks that their way is the only way. And if everybody would just come together and everybody share their way, maybe your way, that way, this way, that way, we'll all be able to be one big nice way to fix everything.
We all have the same goal, and we all have to have. It's like a mechanic never uses one tool to do a job. He doesn't. He needs
Yeah,
multiple tools, right? Nobody uses one weapon to win a war either. You need
that's right.
multiple weapons, and you need to have them in multiple places to do these things. This is this is what I've been saying from the beginning. You need a bunch of people doing it. I'm not going to tell somebody that what they're doing isn't going to work
Well, no, that's
because
everybody's been saying it right from the beginning. Everybody has been saying we need to unite, we need to unite, we need to unite, but it's always on their terms. They don't just, okay, we're all uniting at this place. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. Everybody show up, not just here's your little group over here. Here's your little group over here. 18 billion freaking groups going on. And then we have all this infighting every time we turn around. Nobody can get their head out of their ass long enough to freaking make a difference, because they're
this
too busy talking about this person, that person, this person, that. I give a shit who's doing what and what, and anybody what they're doing. If you're not making a difference and if you're not doing good, you're out of my life.
this is what people end up coming. They're like, well, they're busy. I don't like this person. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What about the person that's trying to kill you? What's worse? Your
I
personal
know it's
they hurt
disgusting.
they hurt your feelings, or the
Yeah,
person who's trying to make you both dead.
you know what?
That's
I personally get that lots, because I don't I don't go off my path. I know truth. I live truth. I have certain things that I do that I know are 100% correct. I'm not going to veer off just because somebody says, well, we should try this. Okay, well, I'll look into it and I might try it, but I'm not going to just agree to every
no,
100
no,
person.
no, no. You've got to
You know,
look at something, right?
that's they're not. Everybody has to do their own way. It has to be their way. Like I don't know. I've been in part of, I'm going to say probably 40 different groups in the last 5 years, where everybody has a plan and everybody's going to do something, but it's really only like maybe 3 to 5 people who have a plan, and it's their project. And if you're not doing it their project, they kick you out, right?
Yes,
If you suggest something that, or no, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. Because of my background, I know a lot and I can help a lot of people get to different levels of things because of my training and my background. But the thing is as soon as people think, oh, how does she know that? She knows too much. She's a bad person. And it's like, really? Really? I come from the streets. I know a lot. Of course I
yes,
know.
yes.
But people look at it as oh no, she knows more than me. But no, and it's disgusting, because all these people want change, and they push change and they preach change, and they, oh God this and God that, but do they live it? Do they really live it?
No, no,
Right?
they don't.
Not. You know, Dale, that I am not a religious person, but I believe that if you're my outlook on it, okay, if you're going to be a God-driven person, you live it, you talk it, you leave it, you breathe it, you sleep it, you eat it, like everything. If that is you being God, like God wants you to be, because what I understand from the Bible, that's what He wants you to be. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. Yes, you're going to screw up. Yes, you're going to go down some rough roads. But if you change your ways and you get better, He will forgive you.
But this
But
is what
that doesn't mean you get to go and be an idiot and an asshole and destroy things and hurt people and rape people and beat people and go to church on Sunday and go, Hail Mary, please forgive me for my
that
sins.
that that's that see, this is what people do, because
I know.
I take a very practical application to it, right? Jesus was a tradesman, he was a carpenter. That should tell you something. He understands
Yes.
how things work.
Yes.
And this is what people fail to do, because if I'm not living what I'm professing, then I'm not that. Because I could sit down and say that I'm a duck. Am I a duck? No, because I'm not walking like a duck. I'm not quacking like a duck. So I'm not a duck. And
Right.
so this is really the whole issue.
But
People,
you could identify as a duck now.
yeah, that's delusion, right? But that's what we're being sold. I was talking to people the other day, and we were just talking about this, and they had to get you to believe things. They feed you lies and got you used to talk like accepting lies. You go
Yeah.
through the school system, they give you lies repeated so much that you're used to being told lies and comforted by lies, so that when you see the truth, you're automatically going to want to reject it, because you can't process it, because you've been used to being told lies.
Yeah. And it drives me crazy because I don't know. I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't grow up with any of that. I grew up with, like, my dad was one religion, my mom was another, and my brother was another. And it was just like, I used to drive me crazy because these people, and I never really knew, I don't even know how I know what I know. I just know. But growing up, I watched family members, and I watched, not really family members because my family wasn't religious, but my family's friends, my parents' friends. And I watched them drink their face off, do drugs like crazy, and completely and utterly out of control. And then I would watch for all week long, and I would watch them go to church on Sunday. And then the next Friday, how I caught on to things, because the next Friday when we got together, it was either Thursday or Friday. My mom and dad used to play cards Thursday night, sometimes Fridays. So Thursday or Friday, these people would come to our house, or we'd go there, and I was just little, and I heard the conversations of, oh, what, you're good now, you went to church. My dad used to always throw that out there. You're good now, you can commit some more sin and whatever because you went to church. And it's, oh yeah, we're good, go to church on Sunday, you're forgiven. But that's not how it works. That's not what it's about.
The the
And
if you
that's how I don't believe anyway.
what you describe there in the Bible, it actually condemns doing that. It tells you this. God tells you this, and He says, "This is not what I asked for."
Yeah.
Right? And so people ignore things so that they can go ahead and do wickedness, and this is really the whole thing. I look at the situation. I because I stopped going to church for like 20 years. Some of the stuff that God said made sense to me, but I looked at the people and I was like, that's nonsense. I don't agree with this. But then I began to go through life and certain things happened, and I had to figure things out for myself. And I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. And then as I begin to look at it from a practical perspective, then I understand a lot more of the things that he's saying, because I'm seeing why he did the things that he did when I'm looking at what the people are doing. And a lot of the people are actually people who say they're serving God, and they're the worst, because they're standing in all of the stuff that God has given them to do what's right, and they're turning their heart against them, and so their hearts become hard. And it's like those people need to go because that's why people hate God. And he says this, right?
Yeah.
The,
Like I really try to, keep it in the back of my head all the time about judgment, right? To me,
yes.
the only person in the world that's allowed to judge is God, Jesus and God. We're allowed opinions, but I don't believe that we're allowed to have a full on judgment. I think we're allowed to. I don't know. I think that if we go too deep into the opinion world, we could become very judgmental, and then we end up going in the sinning side of things.
I'll explain what he says about this because when they talk about judgment, it's like the motivations in someone's heart. I can't read that. That's God. God says we can judge actions. Now, if this person is stealing all the time, I shouldn't hang out with them because I want my life to go into a good direction. That's a judgment. Now we can judge those matters, but I can't sit down and say you're going to hell, right? I don't know what God is doing with you. Like I can't read what God is doing inside of you. That's off base. But we can identify actions that are wrong, but we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater because we've all done wrong and we all deserve to die. So who am I to say that I'm better than you? Because the only reason why I'm here is because of God's grace. So people take it the wrong way. We make these judgments all the time. If I want to be successful, I hang out with people that are successful. That's a judgment. Those are things that are acceptable. I can't say that you're never going to be anything other than you are. That's what God is talking about because
Yeah.
we can't say that.
No. No, and it's very like it's so frustrating like doing the work that I do because I see all these families and people that come from such harsh judgment, right? That they've been beat down. You're never going to amount to this. You're never going to do this. You're never. And it's the same thing in our movement, right? We see it everywhere, everywhere.
This is where we're supposed to love the sinner but hate the sin. Hate something that somebody does wrong, but separate the person from the action because we've all done wrong. What
Yeah,
person can sit down and say they've never done anything wrong in their life? They're lying. And
that's
many
right.
people like to act like they've never done. And there's different degrees of wrong, right? Based on, and this is why we have to look at the situation objectively. And our first reaction should be to try to help them. Now, some
All
people refuse the help, and well, if they keep continually doing that, then we have to just leave them alone because we can't force anybody.
that's
But
right.
they still need to get consequences of their actions if they're committing crimes, right? That's why you have this is why you have a just well, you're supposed to have a justice system. This is an
Yeah,
unjust system, but you get the point. We need to start treating people with compassion and grace
yeah,
because like we have it, to compare to God and in the Bible, God says you have the servant that was forgiven a debt he could never repay. That's every one of us. So the one guy had a guy that owed him 2 pennies. So he strangles the guy who owes him 2 pennies. And that's what we're doing to the people who've wronged us when we owe God something we can never repay. And you know what God said? He goes, I forgave you all of this stuff, but you want to hurt that guy? They're like, take him and put him in jail for the rest of his life and give him the worst punishment because he's like, you're being stupid, right? And that's what we're doing.
yeah, yeah. And it's really unfortunate because I mean, there's some good people. Like if you look at all the people that are trying to do good, like they've done their research, and they're on their own path to do good. If these people would all come together with the other people that are doing exactly the same as them, bring their ideas together, and I do know that there's about 5 different groups that are doing good, but they're all doing their own little thing. They're all worried about their own self. And I get it because you got it, they're preparing and whatever. But the bottom line is change is never, ever, ever going to happen alone. You can't change the world by yourself. You
No,
have to, like, it's the same thing you said earlier. You don't go to war with one gun. Well, you don't go to war with one soldier either,
no, that's stupidity.
right? So So why would people not want to come together, bring all their ideas together, and hash it out? Hash it out. Argue. Whatever you need to do, hash it out. Figure out. You know, you have a plan. This person has a plan. This person has a plan. I have a plan. You know, there's like so many people have a plan. Even if you're taking a small portion from each tiny bit and putting it into one, that's all it's going to take. But
Well,
people just refuse to see it.
and this is what I told people with the stuff that I brought. I said I gave people a way to continue to work on their stuff, but connect each other to the same thing that we're all having a problem with. It's not going to change what a lot of people does. And it's not trying to control anybody. I'm like, just connect to this so that you can connect to those people, because I know that human nature is not going to be able to agree. And I mean, this is basically, I mean, God let this come to us a gift because I should be dead, and it's only because God wanted people to get help because He knows our nature. I don't want to control what other people do. I don't have the time to. That's nonsense.
It is.
It's better to let people who are good at what they do go and fly and just make sure they play nicely in the sandbox, and you don't go and double up the work, because then we're more effective and you have people that help direct each group so they're not overlapping and repeating work.
Yeah. And you'll never win a war with anger.
No,
That's the
no.
thing. You'll never win a war with anger. The only thing you'll do is throw people to the slaughterhouse.
The,
I
the,
mean, I understand because I'm angry too with what's gone on in Canada and around the world. Obviously, I think if you're not angry about what's gone on around the world, then you have no soul. 'Cause that's the only way to look at it. But the bottom line is I can't go to anger, because if I'm going to anger, I'm no good and I'm no help to the people that need help.
it's what you do after you get angry, because you can sit down and say, okay, I'm angry. You can sit there and seethe in it and just let it get worse and worse and eat you like a cancer. Or you could sit down and say, okay, that I don't like, but what can I do to help fix the situation? And then when you
Yeah.
start doing something about that, then this is not consuming you. Then you're angry, because if you see wickedness, you should get angry. If somebody's raping children, you should get angry. That if you
Yeah.
don't get angry, there's something wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
So it's how you respond to that. Some people want to go into a blind rage, and that's the wrong thing to do, right? And this is what people seem to be pushing for. And like, I
Yeah.
mean, I agree. We have to start acting like adults.
Well,
And
people have definitely given up on the government system. It is obviously, we all see it. It's corrupt as corrupt can be. They're doing almost everything they're doing is illegal. I don't even know one person in office anymore that isn't doing something that's not illegal. I'm sorry.
I know that's so
I don't have
hard.
a problem with
That's,
that.
I mean, but I'm laughing because it's true. It
Yeah.
the fact that we actually have to say these things is just, I mean, what else can you do?
Well, the
Right?
fact this is even a conversation with a bunch of grown adults is disgusting, because you
Yes.
have to actually convince these people that if we don't take action, good, solid, compassionate, loving, unity action, then our children, our grandchildren, and all the future generations to come don't have a chance in life at all. If that isn't enough to make these people stand up and do the right thing, then I don't know what to say.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie, and I'm gonna say this straight out. And when I talk to people that have had issues with addiction, people that have had issues, like I even had people that I know that have spent significant times in prison, and they learned their lesson. They didn't want to go back, and they went and flew straight. And I mean, talk to people that were former prostitutes, pimps, drug dealers. I mean, porn star and whatever else like that. They've said, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And they seem, and people that, like, I had to sit under bridges with homeless people and things like this in my lifetime. So I under some of these guys are more compassionate than guys that have tons of money or that are claiming to be
Oh,
all of
100%.
these
Yeah.
great people. And I get more real conversations with people like that because they don't have the illusion that they're great people. They just like, okay, I screw up, but I like to do some good things and I like to help, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what we should all think because we all screwed up. None of us are perfect, but we like to do some good things and we want to get better. That's the mindset that we need to. And this is why I agree with God when he says we all suck, but we're good because of him. Because
Yeah.
naturally we want to do wrong, but he helps us along the way because we're children, right? Like if you had a kid that threw it out in the wild, would they come back knowing what to do? No.
No.
You have a
No, not
parent to guide you through the mistakes, right? That's the whole idea. And this is where I mean, that's it. Like we need to be better, right?
that's exactly it. It has to, like, we have to be better. We don't have a choice but to be better. I'm just taking some notes. It's, yeah, like the people need to be better. Like this, there's millions of people in this movement. There's no reason in the world why I'm going to say there's probably billions of people in this movement around the world.
Yes.
There is absolutely no reason why nobody has got one step forward. It's because of not uniting as one and not believing in one another. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say trust. I'm not going to say trust. I'm believing. Not believing in yourself to be able to step forward and do the right thing.
Yes, and understanding, like, I mean, that some, like, and this is where people, we have to understand some people do things in certain areas, some people do things in other areas. And it's like we have a body, and if the body doesn't work together, like, not everybody's the brain, but not everybody's the eyes, and not everybody's
Here's
the lungs. And you all need all of it, otherwise, you're not going to function properly.
Yeah. It's just like I said earlier. There's only one thing you have to do in life, and that's die. Like if you actually look at everything in your life, even if you want to right now, you can't stop yourself from breathing. You can hold your breath and hold your breath and hold your breath as long as you want, but eventually you're going to have to take that breath, right? You're going to
Yes,
have to take that breath. You're not going to just not stop breathing just because I don't want to stop breathing. You're
yes,
going to have to breathe. So it's the same thing with this situation. If people just start to understand that there is something deeper inside of them that won't allow them to stop breathing, that they have to stand up and they have to do the right things and they have to be the good person that they're meant to be, and they have to help fight this crazy war, even if it's just in their own life. Once they understand that they have to make the steps to do it, maybe they'll start doing it.
well, this is the whole thing. God says that he sends his Holy Spirit to intercede on your heart. Listen to your heart and your mind that God's speaking to you to tell you to do what's right. Because if he's telling you to go and do something right, then you know it's God. If he's telling you to sit down, if something's telling you to sit down and be a coward, that ain't God, right?
Yeah, God doesn't like chaos.
No, no. Look at he built us, and we work. Our bodies are to tell you straight out that there is no chaos in our bodies. Everything works together in
Yeah.
harmony. You look at nature; things work together and they're all dependent on each other. That should tell you that should tell you something. Order. God likes order.
Yeah. So if you have chaos in your life, then you're probably got a little bit of a dark past that you need to clean up, or going down a dark path.
Yeah. So I think yeah we're running up on time here. So
Yeah.
um I'll close here with a prayer and then we'll talk to people again next week. But again, like I said, be better. And so I'll close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Open our hearts and minds to your will and help the men and women to come together and turn themselves over to you. That they would do what is right, not just say what is right, but do what is right when no one is looking to rebuild their families, their churches, their community, their nation, so that we could have some safety and peace for the children, that they could grow up not being slaves and being put through this hell on earth is my prayer. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Or, sorry, tomorrow. Well, next week on this show, right?
Yeah.